وصلى اللهم على سيدنا ونبينا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين والحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. How's it going today? Alhamdulillah. Okay, we just recite the surah together, Bismillah, and then we'll continue from there. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. The first four verses, right? And the first four verses, they all spoke about Allah. The first four verses all spoke about Allah. Now, the address in the surah comes somewhat it does change. From the very next verse, we just go through the verses, we start through, I start, or I recite, or I begin with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or I begin seeking the help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, especially the infinitely lovingly merciful, and the especially lovingly merciful. All praise and thanks belongs to Allah, the Lord, Master, Cherisher, Nourisher, Sustainer of all of the worlds. The one that creates it, and the one that causes it to move from stage to stage. Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, that Allah that is most lovingly merciful, especially lovingly merciful. I don't want to go to tafsir of that, we already spoke about it. Maliki Yawmiddin, the master, the owner of the day of recompense. Right. If we look at those four verses from a bird's eye view, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us about Himself. But it's not just Allah telling us about Himself in a vacuum. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala telling us about Himself in relation to other things. Most salient of those things is ourselves. Right? And where that comes through very strongly is when we say Rabbil Alameen. Remember, I told you, Alameen is a masculine plural, right? If it was referring to it as inanimate objects, you would have used the other plural, Awalim. Remember we had this discussion? We said a lot of stuff. I don't know if you can remember all of it, but what the masculinity or the fact that a Jam' Mudhakkar Salim points out is that it's referring mainly to the human beings of which we are part of, human beings and jinn. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking about Himself, but also in relation to us, in relation to other things, in relation to all of the worlds and what they contain. And then in this last verse that we dealt with, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Himself in relation to a specific time. Right? That being the day of recompense. Throughout these 4 verses, though very brief, short, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us that He shows us our complete and eternal meaning for all times, our dependence on Him. Right? Our dependence on Him at all times. Firstly, He's the one that creates us. Right? Secondly, we understand that from Rabb, He's the one that creates us, He owns us. And He's the one that's nurturing us every single step of our lives. And even after our death, there will be a day of recompense where, again, we will be dependent on His mercy to actually pass that test and go into Jannah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing us He's telling us about Himself, and in the most beautiful words, right? Full of Jamal, full of beauty, and full of Jalal, and full of majesty. Right? The beauty comes in Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Rabb, all of those things. The beauty of Allah's names, His loving qualities, etc. The Jalal, the majesty comes through in the understanding of Rabb as being the master, and also in the understanding of Allah as being Malik. That shows His majesty as opposed to His beauty, His authority as opposed to His favor. Right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is highlighting all of that throughout those 4 verses. And in reality, the scholars say that Allah has many names. They don't say that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, right? Lahul asma'ul husna. But they say that all of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can be categorized into being either Jalali or Jamali, of being manifestations of His majesty or being manifestations of His beauty. And so in these 4 short verses that we've had already, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alluded to all of them. Rabb comprising of both Jamal and Jalal, Rahman and Rahim specifically Jamali, and then Malik specifically Jalali. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alludes to all of them. And why I'm unpacking all of this for you is because you may think, subhanAllah, when we were dealing with the names of Surah Fatihah, we said one of the names of Surah Fatihah is what? Ummul Quran. Even one of the names of the Al-Quran Al-Azim. Right? So why is it that these 4 short verses have that great status? And what I'm pointing out to you is that in its nature, despite the brevity of its verses, the shortness of its verses, it's encompassing in its meaning. Okay? Its meaning is vast and encompassing. So that's what we spoke about in those 4 verses. Also in those 4 verses, though it's speaking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the journey of our life is also encompassed therein. That our life is to be expressions of gratitude and praise for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the end of the day we will be accountable for all of the actions in our life. If one is cognizant and mindful of that much, then all of your actions should be good. If before undertaking any action, I can tell myself that this action is an act of praise of Allah or gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then every action that I undertake will be a good one. Then every action that I undertake will be a good one. Because I can't do something bad thinking to myself that this action of mine is an action of praise or gratitude for Allah, whilst doing something that is clearly expressive of ingratitude. It cannot be. So in these 4 short verses, already here we have the journey of our entire life, what it should be like. Every action of ours is an expression of gratitude and of praise for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And at the end of that life, there will be a period of accountability. A period of accountability for those deeds that I do in my life. That's it. Because of the understanding of Yawmuddin. So now we move on. The next verse. The next verse changes, or the address changes drastically. So what we'll do is we'll first go through the meaning of the verse, and then we'll look at like the literal meaning of the verse, and then we'll look at some of its deeper meanings and how it ties into the rest of the surah. So what does it say next? Iyaka. What does that mean? You know what the ka means? Ka means you. Right? Now when you put that iya before it usually means you alone. You alone. Na'budu. You know this word? What kind of word is this? اسم فعل حرف فعل. Right. What's the root letters? Ain, Ba, Dal. What does it mean? That has all of those meanings, yes. Of servanthood, of worship. Right? Of ubudiyya. Ubudiyya means the nature of being a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, na'budu will mean what? It's a present tense verb, right? Na'budu. And what's present tense verb? It shows that the action is not complete. Right? That's why I said when we did the babs, I told you the maldi, if you look for English translation of it, you'll often find that that's referred to as the perfect tense because the action is complete, and the mudari', whether it's present or future tense, it's referred to as the imperfect because the action is not complete. Either I'm busy doing it or I will still undertake it. But what does it mean? Abada ya'budu. You got this coming. Ya'budu ya'buduna. Ta'budu ya'budna. Ta'budu ta'buduna. Ta'budina ta'budna. A'budu na'budu. It means we are worshipping. Now, why I mentioned before that Abada Ya'budu has connotations of worship and servanthood is because we must remember that our understanding of worship as Muslims is more comprehensive than just ritual acts of worship. Let me say it again. Our understanding of worship as Muslims is more comprehensive than just ritual acts of worship. So what do you mean when you say you alone do we worship? Does it mean that you alone do I make salah for or I direct my prayer? Yes, it does mean that. You alone, your pleasure is the only objective of my ritual act of worship, that is fasting. Yes, it does mean that. I only give zakah for your sake. Does it mean that? Yes, zakah is for a ritual act of worship. Yes. Hajj, a ritual act of worship. That I only do it for your sake. Yes, it does mean all of that. But that ibadah, from the perspective of a Muslim, doesn't stop at those ritual acts of worship. That's not only I make dhikr for your sake, I fast for your sake, I make salah for your sake. No, it essentially means everything that I do for your sake. Everything that I do for your sake. And here I want to, there's a qaida that we have in Islam. A qaida means a maxim or a rule. And that rule is النية تغير العادة إلى العبادة. An intention changes a mundane act or a habitual act to an act of worship. So what does that mean? When I brush my teeth in the morning, if I have in my mind that I have this habit so that I can have a clean mouth because that's pleasing to Allah, then the act of brushing my teeth is an act of ibadah. Not a ritual act of ibadah that has formal rules like salah, like you must do one action after the other. No, but in the understanding that it's going to attain the pleasure of Allah and I'm going to be rewarded for it. In that understanding, it's an ibadah. When I go to work, I'm going to work because so that I can earn some money to spend on myself and my family, so that we don't have to go out and ask people, because that's pleasing to Allah. Right? My primary objective being pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That going out to work in the morning is an act of worship. Right? So when we say Iyaka na'budu, you alone do worship, we're understanding by that oh Allah, you are essentially the objective of all of my actions. Primarily my ritual acts of worship, but everything else as well. And to prove the point, there's many hadith that I can quote in support of that statement. One very prominent one that jumps to mind is in a specific hadith. Rasulullah is talking about different types of charities, right, that will be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Different types of charities. He mentions, helping your brother onto his ride is a charity. Smiling at your fellow Muslim is a charity. So if it's going to be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's an expression of your servitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? You're doing it with the objective of being rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala primarily, or pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala primarily. So those are mundane acts. Obviously that time will be riding horses or whatever it may be. So I help him get onto the horse. That's a mundane act. There's no form to it or anything like that. Rasulullah speaks about, smiling, meeting somebody with a smiling face. That's mundane act. Most people don't even give it a second thought. Right? But Rasulullah even goes to the extent in one hadith to mention that one's sexual relationships with their spouse is a charity. So Sahaba were amazed, like when it came to that one, they were like, whoa, okay, we understand helping your brother, we understand all this other stuff, but how is that a charity? Rasulullah says, don't you see, had you fulfilled that, okay, number one, you're fulfilling the rights of the spouse, but over and above, Rasulullah says, don't you see that had you fulfilled those needs outside of marriage, it would have been punishable. So now that it's done in a manner that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah will reward you for it. So what I'm saying is that our understanding of our expressions of ubudiyyah, of servitude towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is more comprehensive than just ritual acts of worship. Okay. So that's what we say, Iyaka na'budu. You alone do we worship. So here is it. You alone is actually the object, isn't it? It's we worship you alone. How do our sentences usually get formed in Arabic? You have a fi'al, and then the fa'il, and then the maf'ul. Isn't it? Right. Here we have something different. We have the maf'ul, and then we have the fi'al, with the fa'il both into it. So when that happens, we give it a new name. We call it the maf'ul muqaddam. Sounds complicated. Muqaddam just means brought forward. So it's simple. The maf'ul that's brought forward, because usually comes after the verb, right? Now it's coming before the verb, so we brought it forward. That's what it means. But what's the benefit of it? The benefit of that is that the focus of the sentence becomes not my worship. The focus of the sentence becomes you, Allah. Right? The focus of it becomes Allah. Now that's beautiful. In that, who's the speaker here? You see, this is one of the mysteries of Surah Fatihah. Who's the speaker? It's Allah speaking. At the beginning, it's Allah speaking. Right? By speaking of the praise of Allah, it's actually teaching us what we must say. So it's Allah speaking, but it's also us speaking at the same time. So yeah, that's very clear when we come to Iyaka na'budu. Because it's Allah's revelation, but it's actually my words. It's Allah's revelation, but it's actually my words. And what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us in this just by putting that maf'ul before the verb, is that, oh believing person, your worldview must be one that's Allah-centric. It's not focused on your action, rather it's focused on Allah. And from that must stem all your action. I could have said, na'buduka, means the same thing. Na'buduka. Right? Na'budu means I worship ka, you. I worship you. I could have even said, na'budu iyaka. But then the focus is, we worship. The focus is not you alone. Right? So by putting that maf'ul there before, it gives that like primacy in the sentence. That's the focus. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us something. Yes, I do all of my actions directed towards attaining the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but my focus primarily is Allah. And Allah is telling us just by the structure of the sentence. Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in. And iyaka, and you alone, nasta'in. The sentence, the structure of this is exactly the same like the first part, right? And just now the verb is different. The first verb was na'budu, the other verb is nasta'inu. Nasta'inu. Now this verb nasta'inu is not a verb form that we've learnt yet. This is a 10th form verb. But you can take this down for now. The root letters are ayn, waw, and noon. Ayn, waw, noon. The root word would be awn. Awn means to help, to aid and to help. To aid and to help. But when you have what did I say the root letters were ayn, waw, and noon. Waw is a weak letter, right? Waw is a weak letter. Waw, yeah. And if weak letters. Those are like malleable, they change. They change very easily. So in the verb, that will show by the ayn, ya, and noon. Then whenever you see a sin and a ta at the beginning of a verb, we're going to learn this formally but later. It usually indicates a request or a seeking of something. Requesting or seeking something. Like ghafara means what? Ghafara means to forgive. Istaghfara, you know the word istighfar from there means what? To seek forgiveness. To seek forgiveness. Here we have, like you have the word aun or a'ana, will mean to help. Isti'ana means to seek help. So when you see that sin and ta at the beginning of it, it usually indicates to seek something, to request something. So you alone do we worship, and you alone do we seek help from, or do we ask for help. Again, what does that mean? You alone do we ask for help. What does that mean? Does it mean I can't ask a human being, help me with this? No, it doesn't mean that. A lot of people, get their thinking mixed up when it comes to this verse. What it means is my essential dependence is always on you alone. Even when I ask somebody to help me, I know that he doesn't have the ability to help me except if the help comes from you. Right? And also, before resorting to people, I resort to you. Before using a means, I request that help from the source directly. Right? So what does that mean? Let me just explain that nicely. So, I find myself in a pickle. I need help with something. My first source or my first resort is to ask Allah, oh Allah, I require something, whatever it may be, small as it may be. Oh Allah, I require this thing, and then I go to the human being. And even if I don't do it like that formally, I at least have the belief that when asking for help, I know the help truly comes through you, from you, essentially. Right? But it's important to make it our habit that we do resort to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala explicitly first. That I do make dua. Because that dua, when the help comes, it reaffirms my belief as well. Yeah? And it may seem excessive, but they were, of the Sahaba, whatever small need they would have, they would ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the fulfillment of that need. I need some food, ask Allah. And this Rasulullah actually taught to them from a young age. One Sahabi, Rasulullah tells him, إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ. Whenever you're going to ask, then ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? And also what it creates within us is a sense of dependence on Allah, but also sufficiency from what people have. Right? Sufficiency with what Allah has given me, and almost like a restraint from seeking out what other people have. And this comes through in a number of hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasul tells us in one hadith, "Al-yadu al-ulya khayrun wa ahabbu ila Allah min al-yadi al-sufla." Or kama qala alayhi salatu wasallam. He said, the upper hand is better and more beloved than the lower hand to Allah, than the lower hand. What does that mean? The giving hand is better than the receiving hand, or the asking hand. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells in another hadith, be abstinent. I can't remember the exact word of this hadith. Is hadfina. The meaning of the hadith is something like this. Be abstinent from the dunya, Allah will love you. Be abstinent from what people have, then people will love you. Right? So Islam generally encourages us that even if I have a little, I mustn't always be looking at what the other has to, expecting something from them or wanting something from them. I must be happy with what I have. Not meaning that you can't ever ask people for help, no. Obviously when you require help, then we use the means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created for us. But our primary dependency must be on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Our primary dependency must be on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our first port of call for help must be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even when I am driven to ask for help from another person, I recognize that the help is still coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, essentially. Right? That's what we call tawakkul. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in this verse, Iyaka na'budu. Allah says, teaching us what to say. You, O Allah, alone do we worship, and you, O Allah, alone do we ask for help. And then the rest of them, so that's a statement, right? That's a statement. You alone do we worship, and you alone do we ask for help. It's a statement. The rest of the surah is a dua. So we said, you alone do we ask for help. And then the rest of the surah is asking for help. But what is the form of that help? The form of that help is hidayah. It's actually only asking for one thing. We say, you alone do we ask for help. And then the rest of the rest of the surah is a dua. But it's actually only a dua for one thing. And that dua or that request is for hidayah. For hidayah guidance. So we say, Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Ihdina, that's actually a command. Right? It's a command. The verb is hada yahdi. And then the command form of the verb, when you want to say somebody, guide. Or like, for example, jalasa yajlisu means to sit. If I say to a person, ijlis, I'm telling them, sit. Right? But when a command in Arabic, when you use a command form, you can use it in two different scenarios. When the command is from someone in authority, when the command form of the word is used by someone that's in authority to somebody that is subject to the authority, then we consider it a command. And when the command is being used by a person of basically the subject, and he's using it in relation to the person or the being in authority, then it's considered a dua. When it's the person in authority using it, then it's considered a command. When it's the person that's subject to authority using it, then it's considered a request. It's the same form of the word, but it has a different understanding, a different meaning. Right? So, for example, many of the times we make dua and we use the command form of the dua. Allahumma ghfirli, ighfirli. You're not commanding Allah, Allah, you have to forgive me. You're asking Allah, Allah, please forgive me. That's a request. So whenever we use a command form of a word in relation to Allah, then the meaning of it is that of a dua. If Allah uses a command form in relation to us, let's say, that's a command. That's a we make it a dua to Allah. Ihdina. Our time is limited, actually finished now. We can go through tafsir of this again in our next lesson, inshallah. Because that word ihdi is actually very loaded. But Allah says, Allah teaches us to say, ihdina, guide us. The na, whenever you have a verb, you're looking for two parts, right? You have the fi'al, then you're looking for the fa'il and the maf'ul bihi. And you know about damirs, right? Damair, pronouns. Whenever a pronoun is attached at the end of a verb, then that will be my not fa'il, maf'ul bihi also. So that nani is the maf'ul bihi. Guide us. Guide us. But now, that word ihdi, guide, can have more than one maf'ul. So the first maf'ul is who must be guided? Us. And to what must we be guided? That's the second maf'ul. If anything answers the question who or what, then it will be a maf'ul. So who must be guided? Us. First maf'ul. What must we be guided to? Surat al-Mustaqim. That's the Surat is the second maf'ul. And that's why you can see that the word Sirata is in which hal? Halatul nafs. Why? Because it's a maf'ul. Maf'ul is always in nafs. Also it's definite. As-sirata. Sirata, the path. The word al-mustaqim. Before we get into its meaning, what kind of construction is between Sirat and Mustaqim? Mawsuf and Sifa? Yes. You can see both of them are masculine, right? Both of them are same hal. As-sirata al-mustaqima. Right? Both in nasb. Both of them are singular words. And both of them are definite as well. So it's a mawsuf sifa. This path. Well, what kind of path is this that you must guide me to? A path that is mustaqim. So for now we'll just leave it as straight. But inshallah, next time we will get some tafsir of that even later. So we say, oh Allah, you alone do we worship. You alone do we express our servitude towards. And you alone do we ask for help. And then immediately we ask for help. Oh Allah, guide us to the straight path. And that is the help that we see. Because the straight path, again, if you understand Islam correctly, it's encompassing. Islam is a deen, it's not just a religion. It's a way of life that encompasses all human actions, all human states. And so when you're asking for hidayah, you're actually asking for guidance in every aspect of your life. Every aspect of your life. But we'll look at that a bit deeper next time, inshallah. We end here for now. وجزاكم الله خيرا وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.